Welcome back to the Prop Talk Podcast, a voter companion show by House of Nouns. We're here to make your voting decision easier by giving you objective and succinct explanations to every proposal before it closes. We'll also be contextualizing the discussion around each proposal so you can understand the community sentiment and you can go vote with confidence, whether you're a noun or a little noun. This show is brought to you by the same people who brought you houseofnouns.xyz, a supercharged governance platform for on-chain voting and discussion. Go to houseofnouns.xyz to have your voice heard, join in on the discussion, and cast your vote. Now let's get into the proposals. Proposal number 163, the Nouncil proposal number 2, proposed by Nouncil.xyz. So here's the TLDR. Nouncil is seeking funds for their operating costs for their team of 94 Nouncilers from Q3 of 2022 through Q1 of 2023 and Nouncil community grants. Their aim is to expand the Nouns DAO universe by being a voice for Nounish communities and proliferating on Nounish culture. Their budget would be 106.6 ETH, 55 ETH for operating costs, and 51.6 ETH for Nouncil community grants. But who is the Nouncil? Well, they are a council of Nounish builders and supporters from across the Nouns ecosystem. Nouncil is a home for Nounish community members and a democratic voice in Nouns DAO. The Nouncil is extremely active in voting and giving feedback on proposals. Since being funded, the Nouncil has had a weekly documented call to discuss Nouns DAO proposals. They've submitted 9 proposals to the DAO, created a Nouncil proposal incubator, and have had a 98% vote participation in the DAO. Nouncil controls 14 Nouns DAO votes, and they are the number 2 delegate in the Nouns DAO. It has received 154.2 Ethereum in funding for 6 proposals. Anyone in the Nouns community can apply to join the Nouncil via the form in their proposal. An integral part of Nouncil is Nouncil Grants, which was previously funded with 28 ETH and distributed to 18 different projects by Nouncilers permissionlessly. These included art contests, selfie contests, creating Nounish merch, web apps, posters across cities, creating NFT collections, and much more. Nouncil community grants are one of the best entry points to the Nouns ecosystem for Nounish supporters who don't have access to a noun. As stated earlier, the Nouncil was originally funded by Proposal 67 with an 85-1 vote. They have achieved their goals and more with this initial funding while continuing to build their reputation in the Nouns community. So what's the community discussion around Nouncil? Seneca states, I'm impressed by the Nouncil Grants program. Effectively, it's an optimistic program where all members are by default running their own mini grants programs. The results are impressive, and it hints to this sort of mechanism being viable on a larger scale. In response to a question regarding the budget and why it's gone up from 54 ETH in Nouncil proposal number 1, Toady Hawk states, the budget is mostly going up because the number of Nouncilers has exploded, and offering a permissionless grant program to 3 times as many eligible Nouncilers will be more costly. We also think 3 times as many awesome results. Joel has also done a lot of work on plans to incorporate pods with specific operation budgets. The voting for this proposal is open now, but it ends Saturday, October 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Proposal 164, NFTFest Australia, proposed by Gami, a member of Nouns DAO since April 7th. So here's the TLDR. Gami is proposing a Nouns IRL activation as official optic sponsor of NFTFest Australia in Melbourne on November 23rd through the 24th. The activation will include noggles worn by NFTFest event staff, a gold sponsorship of NFTFest Australia, a dioramic photo booth with POAPs, a Nouns panel discussion, 200 Nouns posters distributed around Melbourne, and merchandise at the event. The budget. Gami is asking for 22 ETH to fund this activation, 10 ETH for optical sponsorship, and gold sponsorship, which includes Nouns branding throughout the fest, 5 ETH for the dioramic photo booth with POAPs, 3 ETH for a silver sponsorship on behalf of the NARS DAO, an extreme sports fork of the Nouns DAO which Gami founded. 2 ETH for merchandise to hand out, and 2 ETH for a targeted street poster campaign. But who is Gami? Well, Gami is the founder of the Nouns DAO, a nouns fork focused on proliferating nouns with extreme sports. Funded initially with 69 ETH, with proposal 51. Nouns DAO has sponsored 9 professional extreme athletes who now rep Nouns DAO. Gami has exceeded expectations with the Nouns DAO, as it is one of the most well-recognized nouns forks today. Has there been any similar proposals in the past? Well, Nouns DAO has passed several IRL events and sponsorships previously. Nouns funded a sailing regatta and noggles displayed on 5 sailboats in Seoul for 25 ETH during Proposal 102. This last weekend, Nouns Fair activation at ETH San Francisco passed from Nouns DAO Amigos, who were also funded through small grants for activations at ETH Mexico City and ETH Bogota. Notably, Nouns DAO recently rejected Proposal 136 to make Nouns DAO founding partners of NFT Seattle. That vote ended in 43 for and 97 against. The cost was 40 ETH, which included a ton of Nouns branding across the event, merchandise, a live Nouns art painting, a PR and marketing campaign, and was proposed by a professional team. Here's what the community has to say about this proposal so far. 4156 showed support for the prop and Gami in the Nouns Discord. On houseofnouns.xyz, By Hardy writes, "Really love the idea of Nouns being the official optical sponsor, but it's not entirely clear what that means. Will the event staff all actually be wearing noggles? If so, I wish the prop covered the cost to create some high quality content to show off everyone in their noggles at the event, because that would be awesome. That said, Gami gets shit done, and it will probably be worth the cost." This vote is set to open up on Friday and run through Monday morning. If you'd like to discuss these proposals and what's going on in the Nouns community, join us in our spaces every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, brought to you by Nouns Squared and House of Nouns, together helping every Nouns voice be heard. And now for a quick update on the Nouns DAO Prop House rounds. One Prop House round has moved to voting this week, Prop House Hackathon. There are 22 proposals for anyone to build on top of the Prop House API. Nouns can vote on 5 proposals that will each receive 3 ETH. Voting ends on November 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern. User Onion, who dives deep on every Prop House round, has recommended 3 of these on Twitter. House of Nouns Prop House, an extension of House of Nouns to discuss, compare, and vote on Prop House rounds. This will be built by the same team creating House of Nouns, and will include the custom UX for Prop House's unique funding mechanisms. Nouns Atlas by P. Bryan and J. To build Nouns Atlas, which will index all props in the Nouniverse and make them searchable, starting with Prop House. Prop House's Winners Board by OX10015F, which would fund the creation of POAPs that past Prop House winners can claim on the Winners Board. The other 2 Prop House rounds have been open for submissions and will remain open for the next 2 weeks. The first is the Make the Nouns Go Viral Challenge. Creators are encouraged to use their own resources to make creative content that helps spread nouns across the internet. 4 creators will be awarded 5 ETH. Proposals should be the result of your work. The proposal deadline is November 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern. The second is a Nounish Hackathon. This prop house asks teams to focus on the combination of tech plus art and answer the question, what is one element of the Nouns protocol that you think would have the biggest impact if changed? They would prefer teams of 1 artist and 1 dev to work on this. 2 teams will be funded with 1 ETH. The proposal deadline is November 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now time for the pass or fail of last week's proposals. Proposal number 155, which was CDT, 6 months work continuation for 132 ETH. This passed unanimously, 205 for, 0 against. Proposal number 156, the Nouns AI Pod, 164 ETH. This also passed unanimously, 181 for, 0 against. Prop 157, Save Art Space X Nouns Billboard exhibition in New York City. This proposal failed. 32 for, 68 against. Proposal number 158, the Nouns News 1 million view challenge. This also failed. 14 for, 65 against. Here's some discussion after the failing of Proposal 158. Seneca posted, "While I appreciate the efforts from the Nouns News team, this is a very big ask for the proposed work." Nounish Professor posted via the Nouncil, "I just don't think the feedback was incorporated, and the ask is too high, but I love the Nouns News, and I hope they continue." Leo Clark from the Nouns News team posted to the House of Nouns, "The challenge is making people focus on the wrong part, the provocative title and 78 ETH for 1 million views. I think they should instead be focusing on the real value of our prop, which I believe in short is 11 ETH per month for 5 people working every day to bring awareness to nouns through fun, unique videos." Proposal 159 to set a new proposal threshold also sparked some discussion. It failed 60 votes for and 27 against. And though the minimum quorum is currently 48, which means the proposal needs 48 votes to pass, the proposal failed due to a new dynamic quorum implemented after Proposal 152. With dynamic quorum, Nouns DAO quorum is now set by the number of against votes a proposal has received. So after 1 vote against, the quorum moves to 49. 2 votes against, 50. So on and so forth. At 26 votes against Proposal 159, they needed to reach a max quorum of 15%, or 72 nouns, to pass, which it failed to do. After the prop failed due to dynamic quorum, there's been much back and forth in the Nouns Discord on whether dynamic quorum is beneficial, with most in support. It also brought up the discussion about the quorum terminology, as quorum is typically the number of total votes submitted, but in Nouns, it is the number of votes for. There was plenty of support on House of Nouns. Beauty in the Punk state, "We are not overflowing with proposals to justify excluding so many nouners from putting up props." Tony Hawk states, "In my opinion, that means that the 2 noun minimum is probably unnecessarily disenfranchising people who want to be active in the DAO." There was also some comments in opposition from within the Nouncil. The existing threshold is a feature that reduces noise, by Andrea TR. And with all the changes going on in the Nouns ecosystem, I'm not sure this is the best time for it, by Karen Bonia. The proposal only received 87 votes in total, far less than the 181 and 205 on recently passed proposals. Nouns DAO will still require 2 nouns to put a proposal on-chain. Proposal number 166 to set the voting period to 5 days and the voting delay to 2 also passed 166 to 0. Proposal number 162, the Nouns Fair at ETH San Francisco. This passed 168 to 0, which included a comment from Gami, "Fantastic execution at previous events, many lasting memories and impressions made." I'd like to thank you for checking out this episode of Prop Talk. Remember that you can be part of the discussion in the comments section here at houseofnouns.xyz or join our spaces every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So until next time, stay nounish.